Donald Trump was making his way to his criminal trial in Manhattan, and a rally broke out. Construction workers, regular guys in New York, voters. It was beautiful. I don't think this whole let's put Trump on trial during an election year is working out exactly the way the Democrats planned. We're going to show you all those details coming up in a minute. And how does Texas deal with college protests versus New York? You'll see it, and it didn't go well for the protesters at the University of Texas. Oh, an unbelievable video. The mayor of San Jose giving an interview, and suddenly one of his constituents, a thug on the street, attacks him and gets into a brawl with his security detail. We're going to show you every detail of that and tell you why it's really ultimately all Gavin Newsom's fault. That's all coming up. We're brought to you by the Electronic Payments Coalition, and I'm Larry O'Connor, but please call me. Thanks so much for joining us right now. Hope you're joining us at Rumble and joining the chat there. We have some dynamic individuals who join us every day live. If you're catching us after the fact, set an alert or an alarm for yourself so you can catch us live at noon on Rumble. And also, if you're watching any of this later in the day, you're watching our video where most of you watch the show, please like and subscribe so you build our visibility on the platform you're watching, whether it's Rumble or on YouTube. That helps us out a lot. We're not asking for any subscription fees or anything like that. We just want you to help promote the videos for us so that we can continue to get the messages out, because I think you like what we're doing here. And if you like the message, I guarantee you there are friends and family in your life who will also like the message. And even better, you've got friends in your life who won't like this message, but they can't deny the truth. They can't deny the facts. So you share this video with them, and then you can have a nice adult conversation. Thanks for that. All right. Earlier today, Donald Trump arriving in Manhattan for his court appearance in the criminal trial that, is a big turd. It's not real. And look what happens on the streets of Manhattan when Donald Trump pulls over to say hi to some workers at a construction site. We love Trump. We love Trump. We love Trump.
We love Trump. That was happened just moments ago. It is 7 a.m. in the East Coast right now. It is Thursday, April 25th. This is Fox and Friends, and you're watching former President Donald Trump meeting with construction workers in New York this morning around 6:30 Eastern time. As he got a massive day for him legally, but he already had a great start, probably emotionally.
It was so smart of him to do this because now everyone across the country is talking about it and will be throughout the day. Hopefully he'll do something like this every day before he goes to court. In just a few hours, he's going to be back in that New York City courtroom this is day 7, right, Brian? Day 7 of his criminal trial.
Alexis McAdams is live.
Yeah, we'll get to you in a minute, Alexis, but it is smart. We've got criticism sometimes for politicians and for political consultants because a lot of times they make dumb mistakes. Whoever was consulting Ron DeSantis on his whole primary plan there to get the nomination, dude, get a job at Wendy's, right? Not Ron DeSantis. I mean, the political consultants. We'll criticize when they deserve criticism, but we're also going to praise when they deserve praise. Whoever it was on Team Trump who decided that when they go to court or when they've got a break from court or when they're leaving court in Manhattan, that they go and they make a stop to meet with voters, that person deserves, to be the political consultant of the year. This is so brilliant. Think about the Democrats right now. Oh, I've got a great idea. Let's come up with a completely bogus, trumped-up criminal charge in Manhattan. Ooh, make it about the Stormy Daniels thing. So all the headlines will say hush money for a porn star. That's going to kill him, man. And then we'll make sure that we get a judge who hates Trump and is a big activist for the Democrats. He'll make decisions like he can't talk about the case, that he can't tweet about it or anything like that. And and he can never leave Manhattan during the trial. That means he can't go out to fundraisers. He can't do rallies. He won't even be able to go to his son's graduation. This is brilliant. Let's go for it. That's the plan. And so instead, Donald Trump on his way to court at 6:30 in the morning, you heard. Who's awake at 6:30 in the morning? Working men and women, blue collar workers, the people who keep this country going. They're up at 6:30 in the morning. And Donald Trump stops and gets to this construction site. We're going to get back to the Fox News report on the scene, but I want to show you what it looked like on the ground there. Look at this image. Yeah, you heard the chants between "We Love Trump" and USA, but let's zoom out a little bit and see what the entire block in Lower Manhattan was hearing. Let this image play for a while we consider the juxtaposition of news stories and video images on the island of Manhattan today. Downtown, 6:30 in the morning, as the former president and now Republican candidate for president makes his way to a criminal trial where most Americans think he shouldn't even have to face these charges because it's completely bogus. He is surrounded by working men and women literally wearing hard hats because that's what they do. You know, Biden can go and give a speech in front of a big hotel ballroom with union bosses there, or he can walk through a staged event where people look like they're in a hostage video holding up signs saying, "My union supports Biden," when they don't really care about him at all, right? Trump goes to where they're actually on the job spontaneously, not scripted, not staged, not set up for cameras. And they all start chanting USA, USA, and they're happy and they're smiling. That's in Lower Manhattan. Now, let's head uptown about 120 blocks, just at the foot of the George Washington Bridge on the Upper East Side, the campus of Columbia University, where you've got the Democrats' popular base. You know, the pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist dirtbags who are camping out on the campus, who are threatening people, who are chanting in support of a massacre. And what are they saying about America? Are they chanting USA with smiles on their faces? No. They're wearing terrorist scarves to hide their faces, and they're chanting death to America. Those are two different worlds occupied within the island of Manhattan right now. One of them represent the supporters of Donald Trump in this presidential campaign. The other image represents, if not full-on supporters of Joe Biden in this presidential campaign, they represent the group that Joe Biden is trying to pander to, the group that Joe Biden is worried about offending, the ones who are chanting death to America. And that's all happening all at the same time on the island of Manhattan. And this is powerful, powerful stuff. If you worry about presidential elections where imagery and what's that word they use all the time? Optics is critical and important. These optics, you can't buy that for $1 million, $10 million. Let's get back to how Fox News reported it this morning on the scene.
Hey, that's right. So where would you rather start your morning, right, than in Midtown Manhattan for these construction workers and union members who got to catch a glimpse of former President Donald Trump, who had quite a lot to say. He spent a lot of time shaking hands and trying to talk to these construction workers. Many of you guys who say they were lifelong Democrats but are now just fed up with how the country and where the country is heading, rather. We did have a chance to catch up with the former president, asked him some questions about what's going to happen here on day 7 of his criminal trial. But right now he says he's focused on gaining ground here in New York City and believes he has what it takes to connect with these voters. Watch.
These maybe were Democrats, but to me they're Republican. There's not a Democrat in there. These are people. We built a lot of great buildings in the city with these people. And they've given me great support. They're really amazing. They're very, very talented people. They don't get the credit for it. They have very few people can do what they do.
Yeah, that's right. Because let's not forget, these construction workers, and yes, union members, we'll get to that in a moment. These construction workers, before they knew this guy as President Trump, they knew him as the boss, the guy who would hire them to build his buildings. And there's a lot of them. And that brings us to the aforementioned union, or at least in this case, the union leader, because he showed up down there with his members and he had an announcement to make to Newsmax cameras.
In the past, we are basically Democrats, all of us. And after what's happened the last 4 years in this country, Democrats are basically pushing everybody to the other side. We're a very patriotic group, and we love our country, and we want the best for America. We are tired of immigration. We're tired of our tax dollars going to immigration. We're tired of the crime. We need to put a handle on things in this country and bring it back to how it should be.
The Democrats have become the party of the ultra wealthy and
7 a.m. this all happened. Between 6:30 and 7:30 in the morning, all of this happened. Before Trump even entered the courtroom today, he had already won the news cycle. These images are everywhere. And this is, well, this is how you set your political narrative to win an election. Now, I'm not getting ahead of myself. I know it's April 25th. There's a lot of game to be played here. What I'm impressed with is this was supposed to be a horrible week for Donald Trump. This is a week where all of the news stories are about him and the criminal charges and a porn star and hush money and all of that. And today, his lawyers are arguing in front of the Supreme Court about the insurrection charges. And, well, the criminal stuff, the legal stuff, the judicial stuff, that's going to play itself out. That's going to happen. Does anyone think that Trump isn't going to get convicted in Manhattan by that jury? I suspect he will. And I also suspect that it'll be overturned on appeal because they literally made up the law to go after him. But understand something. That trial that he's in right now is not about the law. It's not about justice. It's not about a crime. It's about politics. It's about the presidential election. And when you approach it that way, well, then every day you have to win the daily political narrative with images and with messages. And so even if he's facing these criminal charges today in Manhattan, no one's talking about that part of his day. They're talking about this part of his day. Even while facing criminal charges in New York, he was surrounded by adoring construction worker, regular guys from New York and New Jersey, places not very welcoming to a Republican. And he not only got them to chant, "We love Trump and USA," but he even got the endorsement of their union boss against not only all odds, but against probably the union infrastructure's political interests. Because even though the rank and file generally do vote conservative and Republican, the leadership tend to vote for Democrats because Democrats give them more. They give them favors, they give them payouts, and I suspect probably some corrupt back and forth under the money stuff. But he still got the endorsement. Who wins the day politically? Regardless of what happens in a courtroom, who wins the day? But by the way, even before Donald Trump walked into that courtroom, he had this to say.
Tremendous polls came out over the last 24 hours where we're up in all of the swing states and up nationally. But one came out where we're down very little in New York. New York traditionally isn't won by Republicans anymore. It used to be 50 years ago, but not anymore. And I think we have a good chance of winning New York. We're going to give it a big play. We're going to the South Bronx to do a rally. We're going to be doing a rally at Madison Square Garden, we believe. We think we're signing Madison Square Garden to do it. We're going to have a big rally honoring the police and honoring the firemen and everybody, honoring a lot of people.
So latest poll comes out and shows that the margin in New York has narrowed quite a bit. He's planning a rally in the South Bronx and at Madison Square Gardens where he will honor cops and firemen. Listen. Do I think Trump's going to win New York? No. Do I think he could win New York? It's possible. Do I think that Trump can utilize what they're doing to him by forcing him to stay in Manhattan for this criminal trial and harness the energy that he's getting right now from the people of New York to start to move the needle in such a way that Biden and the Democrats actually have to defend their lead in New York, that they'll have to spend money in New York to ensure that they win it? Abso-freaking-lutely, as a New Yorker would say. That's probably more powerful than anything. Listen, if Joe Biden loses New York, game over. Any way you put together the electoral map for Democrats, any Democrat running, you start with California, New York, and Illinois, and the rest works itself out. But if you lose one of those big three, you're toast. You're history. And they know it. So if it does start to get tighter, if he does do rallies like this, if the needle does start to move in his direction in New York, they're going to have to spend a ton of money there. Money that they never have to spend. And that really would be a game changer in this election. Also a game changer, what they're trying to do to your credit card rewards. Yeah, millions of Americans earn credit card rewards, use credit card rewards. And corporate megastores right now, they want to take those rewards away from you. These are rewards that all of us use on groceries, on school supplies, cash back that we use on gas, right? Or to help our small businesses, or frankly, to do whatever we want with it because it's our money. We earned it. How about those airline miles that you use for travel, dream vacations, to make memories? Well, the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill would eliminate those credit card rewards. We're talking no more travel miles, no more cash back, no more hotel points, no more theme park points. If you got one of those theme park credit cards, I've seen those before. When lawmakers help corporate megastores line their pockets, American families pay for it, and it's wrong, and you know it's wrong. So tell your senator to oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. Go to handsoffmyrewards.com to take action today. That's handsoffmyrewards.com. Now listen, over the last several days, we've been showing you images of the nightmare at Columbia University. Have you noticed that this sort of thing seems to happen every 4 years, right? Every 4 years, when we have a leap year, we have, well, let's see, this year it's the Free Palestine movement, where people encamp themselves on college campuses in tents, screaming bloody murder and creating a scene that the media covers and somehow, blames the Republican Party, even though the Republican Party has absolutely no power right now. And then 4 years ago, it was Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, ongoing protests, Antifa, arson, riots, uprisings. Remember? 4 years before that, good old Occupy Wall Street. Remember Occupy Wall Street? Same thing, except instead of the downtown city areas like Black Lives Matter, or instead of college campuses like this year, it was down in the financial districts of major cities. And it was always mean, bad Republicans, great, wonderful, liberal, Marxist Democrats. Power to the people, baby. And it's always funded well. They always have pre-printed signs that look really professionally made. And where did they get the money for all those expensive tents? All the same kind of tent. Have you noticed that? That doesn't seem like an accident, does it? Why? Why every 4 years? Why every leap year does this happen? It must be connected to the Summer Olympics. That's the only thing that I can think of that happens in those years, right? 2024, 2020, 2016, 2012. It's the Olympics. It's got to be. Oh, maybe it's the presidential election. Maybe it's very coordinated. Maybe it's very planned. Maybe this is all a scheme. Well, we've shown you what happens at Columbia University when the governor of New York decides not to do anything about enforcing law and protecting innocent civilians. When the mayor of New York instructs law enforcement, the NYPD, remember how they always say, we love our first responders, we stand by the cops, we love our cops, we stand by the cops, and then they don't let the cops do their job. And the mayor of New York and the governor of New York said, hands off the protesters, stay out of there, don't clear them out, let this go. And the punishment goes to the innocent people, the innocent professors, the innocent students. Every single student at Columbia University now is basically going to University of Phoenix. It's an online college for a good 70, 80, 90,000 a year, of course. Well, that's what happens in the state of New York. Now, somebody observed that it appears that all of these major college uprisings seem to be happening in blue states, states that are managed, run, and controlled by Democrats. Why don't these things happen in red states? Well, we have an answer to that hypothetical question because they tried to do this at the University of Texas in Austin. Hook 'em horns, right? Actually, I'm married to a Sooner, so sorry, Texas. Got to do this. Meredith would kill me. Boomer. In Texas, in Austin, probably the most liberal city in the state of Texas, they tried to have their own campus protest. And well, you don't mess with Texas, I've heard. Here comes the riot police. Yeah, to use the vernacular of the dirtbag college student protesters, Governor Abbott don't play that shit, okay? He sent the riot police in and cleared out that campus before this even could get started. But did you notice around them there were a ton of media? There were as many media people there as there were protesters with still cameras, with video cameras. They were surrounding the cops. Well, just a word of advice to any of my friends out there who are journalists or citizen journalists who want to video a live event like this. I've got a lot of friends who do that, like our pal Julio Rosas, formerly of Town Hall. He's made a name for himself going to these hotspots and getting video. You don't get in the way of the cops when they're doing their job because they don't play that shit either. Watch what happens from a different angle when the media got in the way of the police doing their constitutional duty. And by the way, see this guy in the foreground with the blue backpack? Keep an eye on that guy.
Oh! Holy shit! Holy shit! Move back, 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 move back.
But we're media. Don't you know who we are? We're media. You can't do that to us. Listen, Texas has pretty cool weather. They got pretty good barbecue. They got no state taxes. They got a lot of beachfront property there on the Gulf. They got good people. I've met a lot of them. I think a lot of people over the last several years have considered moving to the state of Texas. And listen, there's a lot of good places to move. Texas could be one of the better options. But if you tell me that the police will not hesitate to grab a member of the media by the back and throw them to the ground, jump on them, and arrest them, I think you've sealed the deal. I mean, I look at that. I mean, I feel bad for the guy, but don't get in the way of the cops, dude. Later, as they were taking him away, well, I'll let you see what happened.
Who are you with?
I'm with Fox 7.
Fox 7.
Yeah,
what's your name?
Carlos.
Carlos. What do you think of this?
I think it's they were pushing me, and they say that I hit an officer. I didn't hit an officer. They were pushing. You know what I mean? They were pushing me.
I'm a legal observer. What's your name and date of birth? We're gonna send attorneys to you.
Has this ever happened?
No, it's never happened to me. You know what I mean? I was just covering things.
Did you tell them you were the press?
Yeah, I told them that I was the press. This one says I was hitting an officer. I was not hitting nobody.
And he's going away. He's a cameraman for the local Fox affiliate there, which is, and by the way, local Fox affiliates are not the same as Fox News National, just so you know, or cable. Listen, this will be adjudicated, whether he hit a cop or whether he pushed into a cop or shoved a cop while he was trying to get his shot or impeded the police from doing their lawful duty. You get in the way of the cops, especially in a riot situation, in a protest. When the cops are coming in with helmets and billy clubs and shields and they're trying to clear an area, I don't care if you're a cameraman. Get out of the freaking way, or else, well, what's the old phrase? F around and find out. Well, sorry, man, you found out. That would never happen in Manhattan. Exactly. And that's why more people are moving to Texas than Manhattan. Meanwhile, back in New York, oh, you're going to love this. Apparently, downtown at NYU. So Columbia is up at like 190th Street or something. Like I said, all the way up, north of Harlem, way uptown in Manhattan. NYU is all the way downtown. I mean, not down by Wall Street and Battery, but it's like West 4th Street, Washington Square Park, okay? And apparently things got sort of hot with a march and protest at NYU yesterday. And so a bunch of students all said, we got to go to NYU, man, and we got to be a part of the scene. So we got a beautiful man on the street interview. Yikes. I wasn't ready for that. You got to prepare me. Seriously, what's with the nose ring? Why would you go out of your way to look like cattle? I've never understood that. Listen, certain piercings can be alluring and attractive. Who finds that attractive other than a rancher? Or anyway, I'm sorry. I know you're somebody's daughter, but you asked for it. Watch this. A simple question. What are you protesting down here?
And what would you say is the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU is doing.
Is there something that NYU is doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU is doing?
About what?
About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free.
I wish I was more educated.
I'm not either.
Oh.
I came from Columbia. I was there up at Columbia, and we came down. They said NYU students needed our support. So I came down. I heard there's lots of cops. Some people were saying it was getting dangerous.
I mean, honestly, you can't script it better than this. Especially the one wearing the mask. Do you know what they're doing to Israel at NYU? I don't know. I wish I was more educated. They're the best and brightest. They're the best and brightest. They are going to two of the most expensive colleges in America. I wish I was more educated. Oh, honey, we wish you were more educated too. Trust me. We got to watch this again.
And what would you say is the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU is doing.
Is there something that NYU is doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU is doing?
About what?
About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free.
I wish I was more educated.
I'm not either.
Oh.
I came from Columbia. I was there up at Columbia, and we came down. They said NYU students needed our support. So I came down. I heard there's lots of cops. Some people were saying it was getting dangerous.
Oh, mom and dad are so proud of you, dear. I promise. And they're so happy with the money they're spending. Not just for your tuition, but let's not forget room and board in Manhattan. And I assure you, mom and dad are not letting her take the subway, not with the filth and the crime going on there. So she's probably Ubering wherever she wants to go. It's okay. Mommy and daddy will pick it up. Ladies and gentlemen, in 10 years, this is your next congresswoman from Brooklyn. Stranger things have happened. I don't know what NYU's doing. I was just told something's going on. I'm here. I'm going to protest. I'm down with the cause, man. Last night, Senator Josh Hawley on Fox News sort of summed it up.
Aren't they supposed to be the best and brightest? Isn't it supposed to be hard to get into an Ivy League institution? Could they really be that ignorant? Do they not realize that in countries that take on Sharia law, radicalized countries like Iran, for example, if you're gay or lesbian, they'll murder you. If you're a woman and you're not fully covered, they'll beat the hell out of you, among the many other restrictions and civil rights violations. Whatever happened to the woke left in this country? Whatever happened to the belief in women's rights and gay rights and all the things they said they believe in? Are they just willing to bifurcate their brains and ignore that which they said that they were so passionate about?
Totally, 100%. That's 100% what they're willing to do, Sean. And you can just see, I mean, listen, these are the people who are standing around wearing N95 masks outdoors, doing interpretive dance and calling for jihad. I mean, these are insane people. As I said, I mean, they're spending way too much time on TikTok and social media. Their brains are rotted, and their brains have been rotted by the university system, Sean. These universities are cash machines. They are sitting on giant endowments. They're not really educational facilities. They're giant private equity funds who have taken your money, taxpayer money, and now are using it to pump out this pro-Hamas propaganda. It's a disgrace to this country. These students are a disgrace, and all of this needs to end.
Well, he's not wrong. Good job, Senator Josh Hawley. Meanwhile, from the sublime to the ridiculous, let's go over to the other side of the Capitol building, into the House of Representatives, where their shining light, Ilhan Omar, had much to say about the protests and those of us who oppose them.
They don't want their tax dollars to be complacent. And for the member who said, you know, like, don't waste your parents' money, they don't want their parents' money to go in supporting a genocide that they oppose. And so I do believe that history is going to be on their side. And these members who think this is a political opportunity to turn the world against these people who are standing for a morally just right cause are going to be looked at and mocked in history. They don't want their tax dollars to be complacent.
There you go. You're on the wrong side of history, my friend. So says Ilhan Omar, a refugee from Somalia whose war-torn nation left her starving and destitute. She came here to America, where she was sheltered, protected, lifted up, elevated, educated, and now she's made it to the halls of the House of Representatives so she can go on television and tell you what a lousy country you have. I think I summed it up properly. The Speaker of the House of Representatives did go to Columbia yesterday, and he had a few words of leadership and moral clarity that we certainly aren't getting from the President of the United States, with his incoherent mumblings of equivocation and rationalization. No, Speaker Johnson, flanked by Elise Stefanik and the amazing Congresswoman Virginia Fox there in blue to his right, he had this to say.
We are standing here right now on the steps of the Low Library. In this very building right behind us, Columbia University once awarded Winston Churchill an honorary degree, and it was Churchill who said, "It is manifestly right that Jews should have a national home where they may be reunited." We believe in that principle. And today I'm here to proclaim to all those who gnash their teeth and demand to wipe the state of Israel off the map and attack our innocent Jewish students this simple truth: neither Israel nor these Jewish students on this campus will ever stand alone.
Let's end this segment on that positive beat. It's not been a good week for Speaker Johnson, and it's good to see him sort of get on the right side of this one and be clear and forthright and communicate way better than anyone else out of Washington, D.C. on this issue. That's why he's got the gavel. More of that, please. Less of the other stuff. We were hoping the interest rates would get dropped a little bit by the Fed this year, right? I don't know if you remember at the end of the year, they said, the predictions for the economy in 2024. And most analysts said, yeah, inflation's going to stabilize. It's going to come down. And finally, we're going to get some relief on interest rates, maybe even 6 reductions in the federal rate. That'll help bring mortgage rates down. It'll bring credit card interest down. It'll make the economy loosen up. The housing market will come back. But I should really stop walking down memory lane, because here we are 4 months in and none of that has happened. In fact, inflation has gone up in the first reports, February and March. We didn't get any interest rate reductions from the Fed. 6, we'll be lucky to get 3 or fewer. This problem is not going away. It can't. The math won't let it go away. We're $34 trillion in debt and counting. And because of that, they're printing money we don't have. And the more money they print that we don't have, the money that you're hanging on to right now is worth less. So then when you buy things that now cost more, well, your dollars don't go as far. Now, you can either do something about that, or you can just bury your head in the sand. I choose do something about it. That's who we are, right? We don't wait around for someone else to give us a solution to our problems. No, we got that can-do American spirit. We're going to fix it. Here's what you should do. Diversify a portion of your savings right now into gold with Birch Gold Group. Gold is your hedge against inflation, okay? Birch Gold makes it easy to own. They help you convert an existing IRA and 401k. This is not new money. This is money you're already sitting on right now. They'll convert it into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, and you don't pay a penny out of pocket. When was the last time you saw somebody giving you a message like this where no money comes out of your pocket? That's what we're talking about here. Birch Gold has a A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They've got thousands of satisfied customers' reviews. You can see them yourself. They're totally transparent about it. You can trust Birch Gold Group. So text my name, Larry, Larry, to 989898. That's Larry to 989898. You're going to get a free info kit on gold, and then talk to a precious metal specialist on how to protect your savings from persistent inflation with gold. Birch Gold Group. Text Larry 989898. Thanks for that. All right, the scene out of San Jose, California is unreal. Gavin Newsom's California continues to be out of control. From the chronic homelessness to the garbage strewn on the city streets, district attorneys who are letting criminals walk there. Did you see that the mayor of Los Angeles' home was burgled while she was in the house? It's completely out of control. And now we have the latest example of it with an unbelievable video. Wait till you see this. This man right here is the mayor of San Jose, California. He is giving an interview on the sidewalk to a local news team. And, well, watch what happens.
Percent.
Yeah, but it's a bunch of young
We can erase, but I would not let him go in there if we can. I don't know.
You want to say something stupid? Drop everywhere, just slap him in the face.
So I'm doing an interview, sir.
Are you doing an interview? Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm moving on. I work right there. I'm talking on the phone. You got a problem? Yeah, we're just trying to do. Okay, cool. I appreciate you, Mike. Yeah, you should mind. Yeah. I'm gonna go do what gonna do right before you walk up. You know, that's usually the way it goes. First off, hold up. What? No, bro. Hold up. No. Let go. Hold on a second. Let go. I'll smack you right now, bitch. I will smack you. You want to get smacked? Okay, that's enough. Hey!
Yeah.
Back up.
Hey, and you need to come to a lead right in front of Angkor. There's a fight between the mayor and the officer who's been assaulted on first shift. This is the mayor.
Can you believe this? There's more. I'm going to show you some more of the aftermath here because the camera crew is right there. Why the cameraman, by the way, wasn't focusing everything directly on the fight. I mean, for some reason, we got the sidewalk in the shot way too much. But can you believe this in the middle of this interview? I watch more. You can see. You see in the distance, the fight is still going on. These two are like doing an MMA thing without the cage. It's still got, you like move the camera off the tripod. News is happening right in front of you, my friend. Oh, go to where the news is. All right, but the fight's still going. You can see it just beyond the mayor.
What?
Okay. Not at the moment, but as the mayor and there's no patrol. Just on the mayor.
Mayor's right now. I'm gonna do the interview living space. But as we're interviewing someone, I think I should attack this security personnel. So I was
Let me go, man. Oh, yes. Oh, just let me go.
Right. Yeah. No,
Let me go.
it's over.
Let me go, bro. Let me go, bro.
I know.
Over, bro.
So
Let me go.
looks like we're better, but I'm
Like 35 years
All right. So eventually they broke up. And I love the standoff too. It's like jujitsu, right? Up on your feet on the sidewalk there. I don't know what kind of security detail, if any, the mayor of San Jose usually gets, though. But that didn't seem like your typical preventative measures in a situation like this. Let me give you some details here. I'm reading from the San Francisco Standard, who has a write-up here by George Kelly. Man was arrested on suspicion of assault after an altercation involving San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan. By the way, let me pause just to remind everybody as you hear this story described to you and the situation on the ground in San Jose and in most parts of California. One-party rule in this state, okay? You get that, right? Anything that happens in California, without question, is the direct result of the Democrats' utopia, okay? Democrats control everything. Oh, sure, you got a couple of counties here and there that have Republican majorities, right? You've got some mayors in some cities, Inland Empire, rural areas, some of the mountain regions. San Diego used to be the major city holdout that had a Republican, not anymore. Now they've got Democrats, okay? But at the state level, at the county level, in major metropolitan areas, everything. Democrats can do anything they want in that state without any objection. They have a supermajority. It is literally one-party rule. If you want to know what our country would be like if Democrats controlled everything, look to California, because that's what they've got right now. So as I describe the scene, understand this is a result of Democrat policies, including this mayor, Matt Mahan, during a media interview Tuesday evening. Around 6 o'clock, Mahan was being interviewed near South 1st and East San Fernando streets in downtown San Jose when a man began shouting profanities. He wasn't shouting. He was talking on the phone, and he said the F word. And the mayor says, "Hey, we're doing an interview here." And he says, "Okay, well, I'm trying to get into this building," right? You saw all that. That was all right. And acting erratically toward the mayor and his staff. A plainclothes San Jose police officer assigned to Mahan's security detail tried to de-escalate the situation, but the suspect grew more agitated and threatened the officer. Despite attempts to calm him down, the suspect advanced and struck the officer, police said. The struggle ensued for several minutes as the officer tried to detain the suspect. Bystanders helped subdue the man, who was taken into custody. Officer was taken to a local hospital and treated for moderate injuries. Suspect's been booked. Spokesperson Tasha Dean, that's the blonde woman on the phone you saw. Mayor Matt Mahan is deeply grateful to his security detail and the entire San Jose Police Department. Actions of the officer tonight were heroic and a testament to the de-escalation training. Really? All right. Well, listen, I'm not a trained professional, but didn't seem like the most elegant way to handle the situation. But what do I know? The point is, California is a mess. The mayor of San Jose, which is what, the fifth largest city in California, can't even give an interview without somebody screaming profanities, intervening, and it ends up in a fight in the middle of the street.
Hey, Larry.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have arrested this guy if it wasn't the mayor who was the subject of this?
Well, that's a good question, because this sort of violence happens all the time in California, doesn't it, Kevin? And there's two factors here that led to his arrest. Number one, it was the mayor he was messing with. And number two, it was caught on camera, right? But how many times does this happen where you call 911 and what do the cops say? Well, we got a lot going on right now. Don't know if we can get there in time. Not all of us have a plainclothes police officer giving us 24/7 security like the mayor does. And that's why people are leaving California on a regular basis, or at least one of the reasons why. As I mentioned, Mayor of San Jose can't make it through an interview without a fight breaking out. Mayor of Los Angeles goes home, and while she's in her home, someone breaks in to try to steal stuff out of the home. Oh, and by the way, the district attorney of Los Angeles County, they're holding that suspect on a $100,000 bail. But someone breaks into your home, and you not having the benefit of being the mayor of Los Angeles, I assure you, George Gascon, the district attorney in Los Angeles, sends out that suspect on cashless bail because, criminal justice reform, systemic racism, don't you know? But if you're lucky enough to be the mayor of Los Angeles, that's what you get. Listen, we've seen videos over and over and over again of these gangs of criminals with garbage bags plowing into a Lord & Taylor or a Coach leather store and just stripping everything off the shelves all at once, filling up the garbage bags and leaving, and nothing happens to them because this is the climate that California has created. Did you know that it's a misdemeanor in California if you steal anything under $1,000? It's state law now that they cannot charge you with a felony if what you have stolen is under $1,000. So believe it or not, crooks are not stupid. So they go in and they steal $900 worth of stuff. You're a store owner. You call the cops say, what did he steal? And they said, well, he stole about $800. Yeah, you know what? We'll get to it eventually, but it's not a felony. We're not going to bust our ass to try to find this guy. Even if we do arrest him, he's not going to get prosecuted. And even if he is prosecuted, it's just a misdemeanor. So shockingly, when you've got that kind of law and order and criminal justice set up in a state, the criminals end up breaking the law and getting away with it. Now, this reached a bit of an epidemic, and Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, who has encouraged, supported, and promoted these brilliant policies, has now pledged a $267 million to crack down on the so-called smash and grab robberies. Those are the ones where a gang of people plow into a store, take everything that they want and leave, and nothing ever happens. $267 million to crack down on those robberies. But as our friend Kevin Dalton, who is a conservative activist in Los Angeles, points out, Gavin Newsom in 2021 pledged $300 million to crack down on smash and grab. But that was 3 years ago. What's $600 million among friends? I'm sure that eventually, when Gavin Newsom keeps throwing $300 million at a time at a problem, he'll solve it. I've got an idea. It's a little out of the box. It's a little avant-garde. You might not go with it at the beginning, but just hear me out for a second, because I've done a little research into this. Research that really amounts to studying basic rules of civilization for the last 500 years. And it turns out Western civilization figured this out a long time ago. You have a criminal justice system where when someone breaks a law, that person's arrested, that person's tried, that person's convicted, and then that person is punished, usually with incarceration, so that they can't keep committing that crime. I know, it seems crazy, and it doesn't cost $600 million, guys. You make a law, you enforce the law, and you punish the criminal. And I'm believe it or not, it'll work. You'll actually have law and order in your streets. You'll actually have peace and quiet. You'll have a little crime, but the police at that point will just be investigating the smaller number of crimes that they have instead of drinking out of a fire hose like they are right now. Oh, and when the police maybe get rough with a suspect now and again when they're arresting them because, you know, they're a criminal thug, when the police are caught being a little rough, you support the police. Our friend Kevin Dalton put together this mock ad for Gavin Newsom as he was announcing this new robust policy.
We need to hold folks to account, but we'll do it in a thoughtful and judicious way. We're not going back to the way things were in the 80s and 90s, at least not while I'm here.
You guys are really awesome. Thank you so much for your business. Thank you so much.
We want to go after those organized teams.
By the way, I'm sorry, and this is my fault, and maybe, Kevin, you can fix this edit because I left out one very important detail in setting up this video, and we'll start it from the beginning. Our friend Kevin Dalton actually put together a mock campaign ad for Gavin Newsom. And as you watch his remarks here about how he's going to crack down on these smash and grabs, notice that everyone around him is wearing masks. You know why? Because this was in 2021 when he said this. This was the first $300 million that Gavin Newsom pledged to finally end this outrageous crime spree in California. This was 3 years ago, and look how effective it was.
We need to hold folks to account, but we'll do it in a thoughtful and judicious way. We're not going back to the way things were in the 80s and 90s, at least not while I'm here.
You guys are really awesome. Thank you so much for your business. Thank you so much.
We want to go after those organized teams of folks. Enforcement is critical. Accountability is critical. And let me just make this point. There's no free ride. You can't smash a window.
Yeah. Like I said, you want to know how this country would be if Democrats got to do everything? You look at Gavin Newsom's California. And he does want to bring those ideas to Washington, D.C. I mean, he's already got Kamala Harris there, right? And she's a real winner. I mean, Gavin Newsom has done this his entire career. When he was the mayor of San Francisco, he pledged a huge, very expensive spending effort on behalf of the city government to finally end homelessness. How's that working out, San Francisco? Then he became lieutenant governor, and he worked with Governor Jerry Brown to do the same thing. And now he's governor, and he's doing the same thing. And, well, here's the thing. Gavin Newsom and his policies has actually made homelessness, which is really criminal vagrancy. You shouldn't call it homelessness. These are criminal vagrants. He's made it worse. And he continues to make it worse. And all the money that he throws at this, all of taxpayer money from California that he throws at the criminal vagrant problem, which has not solved the problem, and it actually makes it worse, all that money goes to a bunch of huge, rich developers who make affordable housing for the homeless. In fact, they just started a brand new homeless shelter in Santa Monica, California. Oh, you betcha, beachfront property, where every unit is going to cost $1 million. For criminal vagrants. Instead of throwing them in jail because they're breaking the law, they're giving them $1 million beachfront condo. And all that money goes to real estate developers. And what do you think those real estate developers do with all the money they're making? You guessed it. They give campaign contributions to Gavin Newsom and to the Democrats. And the cycle continues. And that's why California has one-party rule. Now, you'd think that the state legislature in San Francisco would maybe investigate where the first $300 million went 3 years ago to stop all this smash and grab before they give him another $300 million. But you see, this legislature is also controlled by Democrats. Republicans have no voice. There is no checks and balance. There is no separation of powers. There is no two-party rule. It's one party. It's Gavin Newsom and Joe Biden's Democrat Party. There is one voice of sanity in the state of California. He used to be in the Assembly, and now he's a member of the House of Representatives. He's Kevin Kiley, and he actually just argued this week in the Supreme Court to stop this outrageous homeless empowerment that's going on right now, where the belief of people like Gavin Newsom is that individuals have a constitutional right to live on the street, to defecate on the street, to urinate on the street, to fornicate on the street. There's no constitutional right to this. And local governments, county governments, and state governments can make it illegal for all of that behavior. Kevin Kiley argued that before the Supreme Court, and here's what he had to say on a local station in California.
Which has had these rulings that are really out of step with the rest of the country, that have tied the hands of local officials and made it virtually impossible for them to regulate the growth of homeless encampments and even, regulate where they can be. So that's why we see them all over in our parks, on our sidewalks, in front of businesses, near schools.
Kiley says the High Court can once again give communities the ability to regulate homeless encampments in what he says is a common sense way. And Sacramento County District Attorney Ten Ho and California Lieutenant Governor Lenny Kounalakis also attending today's arguments in D.C. The Lieutenant Governor writing on X after the hearing, saying in part, quote, while California has been tackling the root causes of our homelessness crisis, it's critical that states and cities also have tools to keep our communities safe and to get people the services they need to get out of tent encampments and into safer places to live.
Yeah, they've been tackling the root causes. Please. They think the root cause is affordable housing. These people who are living on the sidewalks in a tent or in a cardboard box, who appear to be strung out on drugs and are sleeping in their own filth, if only apartments and houses were cheaper, they'd be living in an apartment in our house. Do you really believe that? I mean, listen, I am full of charity and grace to people who are down on their lucks and have had a rough time, especially people women who have been in abusive relationships and they've had to leave their home to protect themselves and their children, and maybe they're living in their guys. It's horrible. I don't want them to have to go through that. I would love for them to have a shelter, a faith-based shelter, a church-based shelter. And we do have shelters for those people. We spend a lot of money on things like that. We also, Americans, are incredibly generous, and we give to faith-based charities to be able to create spaces for people like that. But do you really think that that's the majority of people who are living on the streets right now? Do you think it's people who just happen to lose their job and, well, I lost my job, I'm just going to have to live on the sidewalk? If you think that, then I want you to ask yourself a question. If you lost your job right now, and you no longer had income, and you couldn't afford the place you're living in, what would you do? Would you just say, oh, that's it, I have to live on the sidewalk. Here's my tent. Here's my cardboard box. I'm going to pee into a jar or just on the sidewalk in front of children as they're walking to school. That's just my life now. Is that what you'd do? Or would you bust your ass to find another job? Would you move to a less expensive place in your state or in your country? Would you move to Santa Monica on the beach and demand $1 million condo? Of course you wouldn't. That would be outrageous. The state doesn't owe you $1 million beachfront condo. Nobody owes you that at all. Oh, you would figure it out. You would find a place. You would do whatever it takes to scrape and fight and make money, no matter how, so you could have a roof over your head and for your family. Not ideal, not wonderful, not perfect, but you'd start over. So what makes you so different than the people who are living on the streets? Well, you know what? There are the root causes of homelessness. There are 3 root causes: mental illness, addiction, and criminal behavior. And in California, they're doing nothing about any of them. In fact, they're creating more of all 3. I just want to remind you, Gavin Newsom wants to be president of the United States. Kamala Harris wants to be president of the United States. And half of Joe Biden's cabinet, from Alejandro Mayorkas to Xavier Becerra and on and on and on, all came from California. You want to know what the Democratic Party would do to this country? Just look at California. And the next thing you know, your mayor will be accosted on a sidewalk in front of the world on camera. And you'll just shrug and say, what are you going to do? It's California. But it won't be California. It'll be your town. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for subscribing. And thanks for all the support you're giving to all of our Town Hall Media sites, from townhall.com to hotair.com to PJ Media to Red State to Twitchy. God, I love those maniacs over at Twitchy, right? Politabunny is the greatest. And of course, the great Cam Edwards running things at Bearing Arms. Check out all of our Town Hall sites and check out Larry. Tomorrow, it's our big roundtable panel show. You're going to love it. We'll see you then. I'm Larry O'Connor. Please call me Larry.